All right, hello. We are live now. It is 7:57. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a few minutes till we're after 8 o'clock and more people have joined, and then we will get rolling. So I'll be here checking some stuff, and then I'll be right back. A couple minutes. Should just be a few more moments here. All right, it's 8 o'clock. Just going to give it like another minute or two. Give a chance for some more people to join, and then we will get started. All right, it's about 8:03. Let's go ahead and get rolling here. So hello everyone and happy Wednesday. Before we get started, I just want to mention a few things that are administrative in nature. For those of you that are in a team fitness group, meaning your way your coaching and team happens is mostly through the Photocracy feed and the team interface, I'd ask you to please check your group feed for a discussion about moving to a unified group through a forum software called Discourse. There's a link to that software. It's where it's like a trial. So if you could maybe chime in on that thread and give the Discourse forum software a spin, and then let me know what you think, please. One other thing I wanted to mention is that I did just publish a new article today called Turn Up the Volume. It's related to eating high-volume foods to get a gut stretch reflex, which kind of releases hormones into your system that make you feel better and feel fuller. So please make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter on my website, which is chuckgrossfitness.com, and or you've liked my Facebook page, which is also Chuck Gross Fitness. And lastly, there'll be no scheduled hangout for next week due to the holiday. In the U.S., it's 4th of July. Due to the holiday, I'll be out of town, but I'll still be in communication with everyone. But just no hangout because I don't know where I'll particularly be on a given night during that week. So our first question comes from April. April asks, did you experience any negative things from your weight loss and lifestyle change? For example, do the people you knew before that still treat you the same, or did you have to find a new social circle or friends? April, that's a great question, and thank you for asking it. This is something that's not often asked and really not talked about. Most people don't consider that when you make a lifestyle change, sometimes the people around you aren't very receptive, or you simply have to kind of change your social circle because your new lifestyle doesn't really fit with it. And sometimes that could be an unfortunate thing, sometimes that can be a positive thing, and it really depends on the situation. But it is also said that you are the combination of the 5 closest people in your life. So that's something to think about. But I actually have the same group of friends that I had when I was at my heaviest, and they don't really treat me differently, at least now. For a while, they may have felt uncomfortable offering me food or drinks at like a party, or maybe inviting me to go out to dinner because they knew that I was trying to lose weight. But after a while, they were back to treating me the same once I kind of explained, like, you know what, I'm not doing a restrictive diet. I don't specifically cut out certain foods. I can go out to a bar. I can go out for wings. I can eat pizza. I'm not like eating low carb for the rest of my life. I don't eat paleo, blah, blah, blah. So once they kind of got the picture and realized that I was serious and that I could still maintain my weight loss doing those things, it was kind of like a sigh of relief in my social circle that was, I'm just normal. I'm not like a freak because I have to do all these weird things to maintain my weight loss. Sometimes they might act a little apprehensive about asking me about fitness stuff. First, just because usually when people lose a lot of weight and keep it off, everyone acts like there's some kind of secret. I would say the one thing that's different is that they feel that I have that secret and I'm maybe reluctant to share it. Or sometimes, normally, if it wasn't around someone else that had lost weight, they would be willing to talk about their own health and fitness, but now that I'm around, they kind of are a little shy about it. I'd say that's about it as far as that goes. But I think that is because, in the end, it's really about changing your habits towards food and exercise and making those habits something you can do on a daily basis and enjoy them, and controlling your portions and making sure you're getting enough fuel to fuel your body and mind with better food choices too. And when you are basically living proof of that, people don't want to hear that because they still have some type of hopeful belief that there are unicorns and that there's some magic pill or magic trick out there that makes it easy and simple, and there's not. So a lot of times some people in my social circle kind of stare at me once I give them the blunt truth, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, and then we just move on to another subject, and I'm okay with that. I do have some new friends that come from the fitness world, and that's a little bit weird because none of them knew me when I was at my heaviest. They only know me as the guy that they see now. They don't see that I've lost 200 pounds. They don't, unless I tell them or they know from other means. They just kind of see a big guy with a beard that's in shape, I guess. So that's a little bit weird when you kind of tell people that because they normally have no idea that I was heavy at some point. So that's kind of cool. it does definitely makes for an interesting conversation, that's for sure. And one thing I do want to mention is that um, I have lost some online friends. And what I mean by that is I've lost contact with them, not out of um, that we had any differences or anything or problems. It's just that one of the biggest contributors to me being so overweight in the first place was an addiction to MMOs and video games, especially games like World of Warcraft, Ultima Online, Shadowbane, etc. So I started playing these games in the late 90s, I think 1997. I was in high school at the time, and I always played with the same group of friends. Some of those included my real life friends that I still know today, but we had a large guild that we played all these games with, meaning we'd play one game for a couple years, and the same group of people would move to the next game. And we were always on voice communication. I believe our first one was like Ventrilo, IRC. We had an IRC channel, a website that I put together and ran, forums, that type of stuff. So we were a community way back then. So it's been, how many years? I've probably known some of these people for 16 years. And they're people that, when I was into gaming, I would play games for, 12 hours a day, not sometimes. And I would be spending all that time with the same people. So when I first started my lifestyle changes, I realized that addiction was kind of a stumbling block for me, simply because I had to make time for other things, meaning like I had to make time to actually prioritize my fitness. So I decided to kind of go cold turkey. I sold my gaming computer. I canceled my World of Warcraft account, which was very hard for me. That was probably the biggest exercise of willpower that I had, more so than food and discipline to work out. That was the big one for me. So as a result, I naturally kind of lost contact with them because I wasn't in game talking to them or on voice chat 12 hours a day. And when I did pop into the forums or IRC chat, I didn't have anything to talk to them about for the most part because I wasn't playing games with them anymore. We're still friends on Facebook. We occasionally chat when something comes up, or we still have a group discussion format on Facebook that we sometimes pop in and see how each other are doing. But other than that, it's very infrequent contact comparatively. Like I said before, it was 15 years of talking to each other 10 hours a day. Now it's maybe like I'll say something to them maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I do miss their friendship, but for the most part, in order to spend time with them and rekindle that friendship, I'd need to be playing games again, and I simply don't have the time. As a result of my lifestyle changes, I'm pretty sure I could handle playing games again, and it wouldn't be at the cost of everything else that I've accomplished to date, and maintain my level of fitness and not regain weight, but not with everything else that's changed since I've started my fitness journey. Being a fitness coach, helping other people, other ventures I've kind of played around with, being a father, having kids, a marriage, that type of stuff. It's just not going to work anymore. There's only so many hours in the day, and you have to make the things that are important to you a priority. So it's probably not going to work. But I still do miss them. I do occasionally fire up some older games and give them a try, just to kind of scratch that itch. But it usually only lasts a few hours or a week at most, because my heart just really isn't in it anymore. It's nostalgia creeping in, and it's just not the same. So that was a great question. Sorry if I'm rambling, but that's actually something that's not really usually talked about. So I just figured it would be a good kind of a topic to expand upon. So, all right, let me check something here. All right. Our next question comes from Brandon, and Brandon asks, do you ever come home exhausted or stressed out? And what ways do you stay motivated after a rough day to finish strong? Thank you for the question, Brandon. Out of anything that I'm often asked, it's mostly about motivation. That's the most common question I get from a multitude of people over the entire internet and in person too. And I think the answer may surprise most people. As far as coming home exhausted and or stressed out, the answer is yes, basically every day. One thing to keep in mind that there are only so many hours in a day. Everyone gets the same number of hours in a day. It's how you use them and what you prioritize. And stress is not about having a certain amount of stress and trying to lower it. It's really about how you perceive that stress and how well you manage it. And that you do that through prioritizing things and letting go of things that are not as important as the things you care about most. But since I have a few years of experience to draw from, I know that if I'm stressed out and exhausted, that if I go and work out, regardless of how exhausted I am, I immediately get stress relief and an energy bump. So if I'm basically walking in the door with my shoulders slumped and my arms are dragging on the ground and I'm having trouble picking up my legs and I'm half asleep and I just want a coffee, I know that if I change into my gym clothes, go into the gym, and even just stretch out, move my arms around, move around a little bit, just do some light work to get the blood pumping, I know that I'm going to get stress relief and I'll immediately feel better from being exhausted. Immediately. I know that. So why do I feel exhausted and stressed out all the time? It's because most of the time I sit. All the things I do in my life are sitting. So I program, I work on the computer, all sitting. So because of that, any activity makes me feel better. And it's weird to say it, but sitting all day is hard on your body. So that any type of activity can kind of get your blood pumping and make you feel a lot better. As far as finding motivation in general, motivation is not useful in the long term. Initially, you need to use up some of your willpower to get that spark of motivation, and what you use that for is to create habits. I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is all about habits. Habits, 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 habits. It's the only thing that really matters in the end. You can use any technique you like. There are plenty of myriad ways to lose weight and get there. But what keeps you there, and what majority of people that have experienced yo-yo weight loss where they lose weight on a diet and they regain it all back, it's because those habits were not the foundation and they were not cemented in place permanently. The only goal that matters is having those habits in place. It's hard to see that in the short term, meaning people look at week-to-week progress and say, oh, well, I lost weight this week, or I gained weight this week, or I stayed the same, this is horrible progress. The only thing that matters is those habits. So the quicker you can get those habits in place, the better off you'll be in the long term. All people, me included, are terrible long-term planners. So that's why it's great to have someone help you with accountability, but those habits are what matter the most. So if I come home and I don't want to work out or do anything productive, I cannot rely on motivation because it's fickle and fleeting. I could feel motivation at the time when I'm least likely to use it, meaning it might be 2 o'clock and I am not leaving my office till 3:30. That motivation is entirely useless to me. So it's not something you can generally call upon when you need it the most. So it's useless. Instead, I rely on those habits. So for me, the pain of not working out, because it's a habit that I haven't broken in 7 years, is greater than the pain of working out when I don't want to. So it's a matter of people are always going to migrate towards the option that's less painful. And I don't mean pain like physical pain, like, oh, that hurts, but things like boredom are pains. So you always go towards the thing that's the least painful. So after something is solidified as a habit and you've put enough time into it, it's going to be something like brushing your teeth. Now, I don't know about you, my mom was very strict about brushing teeth and going to the dentist when I was a kid, so that habit is so ingrained in me that I am Sorry about that. My Chromebook apparently went to sleep because I was doing too much talking and not enough clicking to keep it from going to sleep. So sorry. Picking back up. So as I was saying, my mom ingrained the habit in me of brushing my teeth so much so that if I forget to brush my teeth, I will have a bad day because of it, because the pain of not brushing my teeth is worse than the pain of remembering to do it every day. So I think maybe in the past 10 years I forgot to brush my teeth once. And that was such an awful experience for me, even though my breath couldn't have been that bad because I had sugar-free gum and stuff, and couldn't have been that horrible. But I just felt bad mentally, physically, psychologically, all day because of it. And that's because this habit has momentum of consistency behind it. And the lesson here is that so should your fitness habits. It doesn't matter if you have a good workout or a bad workout. It's about the consistency of sticking to your goals and building that momentum and making things a habit. It's not going to be easy all the time, but consistency matters the most, as well the habits matter the most, because consistency is what creates the habits. So that's unfortunate that cut off right then and there, because that was basically the end of the questions. Let me flip around and see if we got any more questions asked. Give me one more second here, please. Appreciate your patience. All right, no additional questions were asked, so I guess we will end that there. Like I said, the quick administrative things were that if you are in a team fitness group, please check your feed for a discussion about moving to a unified group for everyone that's part of the Chuck Gross Fitness team using Discourse. I did publish a new article today, so please check it out. And what was the third thing? Oh, no hangout next week. If for some reason you're incommunicado, have a great 4th of July. If you don't celebrate it, have a good first week of July. Talk to everyone soon. Have a good night.